So I have something called diabetes iceberg. We all know about the concept of iceberg, right? What is iceberg? A very little portion of the iceberg will be on top of the water, but major portion will be under the water, which we will not know how much depth it is, what size it is. Many accidents happens, especially when they are not able to analyze how big the iceberg is inside. The ship accidents, right? There's a movie as well, the Titanic movie, all of us know about it. That is all because the iceberg, inside the iceberg, it is really the depth and the size of it is really very high, right? And we will need to adapt this theory into our life as well. When it comes to diabetes, what happens, right? So 30% of it, whatever is outside, is about what we know. 70% is just hidden inside, which we don't know when it comes to diabetes. This is the fact, right? And what is that 30% and what is this 70%? 30% is about the symptoms. Whatever symptoms we see, we know that is 30%. Lot of people do not even understand this 30% of symptoms, right? They neglect, and some of the cases the symptoms are asymptomatic. Diabetes is asymptomatic. They don't even have symptoms, right? But what are the causes of diabetes? That is little hidden. Let us just work on this. What are all the symptoms? We may have excess sweat, excess urination, excess thirst, tiredness, weight loss. All of these are the diabetes symptoms. We know about it. We are feeling it. We can experience that. But what is the cause for it? When we have sweat, when we have urination, when we have tiredness, when we are really losing weight very quickly, what we do? We immediately get into a doctor or get into a laboratory and do our diabetes medical, the blood sugar level analysis, the diagnosis, right? So when we do this diagnosis, what is the result of it? Definitely our blood sugar levels are high. So our blood sugar levels are high, and that is why these symptoms, right? So what are we doing? We are immediately getting into doctor and we are taking medication, and that medication is literally eliminating the excess sugar which is there in the blood, right? So when we are eliminating the excess sugar which is there in the blood, that means blood sugar levels being high. Is that the cause for diabetes? What is the cause over here? Blood sugar levels being high is the cause or a symptom again? We are considering this as a cause and we are treating it. Otherwise, we are just treating that. But what blood sugar level, that is the glucose, blood sugar, does to our body, we will need to analyze that, and then we will understand what is the symptom of diabetes and what is the cause of diabetes, right? So for that, we will get into this concept called binding mechanism of our cells. We have our cell, right? This is our cell, human cell. Just imagine, it is not, I've just, for understanding, I've just I've just put one structure in my own pattern, but this is not the real complete structure, just for the understanding. Right? So we have our cell, all of us, the entire body, human body is made up of cells, and each and every cell has that will need to function, right? Accumulation of cells is our body. Whatever our cells is eliminating, that is our waste. The sweat is all eliminated from the cells. Each and every cell is eliminating the waste, and that is what they cumulatively called as sweat. Cumulative called as urine, all that, right? So This likewise, whatever we are eating, it is all going to the cells, right, in its form. So we eat glucose, that is carbohydrates, rice, starchy food, all this are carbohydrates. We eat those food and it is getting converted as glucose, and that glucose is the fuel for our cells. Okay, when we are eating glucose like this, the glucose is staying in the blood stream. When this glucose is there in the bloodstream, pancreas, there is an organ called pancreas. It is like this in the structure. You can see here, right? This pancreas will be secreting some insulin. Okay, these insulins are like the key to open the cell's wall and glucose to enter into the cell. What happens is there are insulin receptors, there are glucose receptors. Receptors are nothing but, just imagine like a door to open the cell, right? What happens is whenever the glucose is in this bloodstream, the insulin receptors will actually bond, the insulin will get bonded over here. Look at here, the insulins are just getting bonded in the insulin receptors. When it is bonded, the doors of glucose receptors opens up and glucose enters into the cell. This is the binding mechanism of the cell. But in case of diabetes, what happens is the glucose is still in the bloodstream, right? The insulin, pancreas is producing insulin, but the insulin whichever the pancreas is producing is not getting binded completely into the insulin receptors. So the glucose receptors are not opening and the glucose is just remaining in the bloodstream, and this is what is called as insulin resistance. When this insulin resistance, the blood has lot of sugars which is not got into the cells and it is remaining. If the glucose is not entering into the cell, where will that go? That will remain in the bloodstream itself, right? And that is why the sugar, the white ones are actually the glucose indicated over here in this bloodstream. So these glucose have just remained in the blood vessels. When it is remained in the blood vessels, right, that is called hyperglycemia. Okay, now we have taken enough amount of carbohydrates and it is converted into glucose, and we have enough of insulin produced by pancreas, right? But still, because of this bonding mechanism did not happen. That means what? Insulin resistance. The cell is insulin resistant. It is not accepting the insulin. And insulin resistant is the actual cause when it comes to diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Right? So are we treating this insulin resistance? We are not treating insulin resistance. We are just treating this excess sugar level which is there in the blood. If we treat insulin resistance, then that is the root cause. That is the working on root cause for diabetes, right? So blood sugar levels is also the symptoms when it comes to diabetes. We should not be working on the symptoms. We should not be finding solution on the symptoms. When we are finding solution on the symptoms, it is called quick fixes. We should not be working on the quick fixes. That is what we have told in the code of honor itself, right? One of the code of honor is sustainability. When it comes to sustainability, we will definitely need to work on the cause, and for diabetes the cause is insulin resistance and not the blood sugar, high blood sugar. High blood sugar is also a symptom. When we are working on insulin resistance, definitely this will come down. Blood sugar levels will definitely come down. So that is why diabetes should be worked. Why is insulin resistance happening? Majorly on the lifestyle, food, lifestyle and mind. And to reduce the blood sugar levels, it should not create lot of complications, right? Other complications. So we will need to work on that also, reducing the blood sugar levels as well parallelly, and for that we will need to have medication as well. So diabetes, managing diabetes is not just science, it's an art. So we will need to integrate medicines plus lifestyle reformation. That will be the solution to work on the diabetes.